Good morning. So, this is something new. I have been working on this a long time and I couldn't figure it out in my OBS software. And so I am in Zoom and I'm hoping that this is going to do it. But today I saw this story maybe about a year ago and I keep thinking about it. And so I wanted to share it with you because I think it's a good starting off point for us to discuss financial elder abuse. So let's start the video and get into it.
It's one of those stories where you're just wondering, how could anyone do this? Unfortunately, it happens a lot. It's just not always in the news. Now, this is the house that we are talking about. The trouble started 2 years ago when the elderly couple needed a personal loan. Their grandson offered to help and in the process convinced them to hand over the deed to this house. That was the beginning of the end.
So I just want to stop this. So I've done a lot of reading on this, watching videos, and Helen and Hank, their grandson, who it sounds like you'll see they were very close. And about 2 years before this, the Hank and Helen wanted to take out a loan because they needed some liquid money, cash. And their grandson told them that they wouldn't be able to do it because neither of them have jobs, so they wouldn't be able to get the loan because there was no proof to show that they could pay back the loan. So he said that if they deeded it to him, that he would take out the loan and then give it to them and take care of them.
And I don't know where we're going to put these.
Verna and Hank Kowecki have to pack everything and move. They're being evicted from their home of 56 years in Thousand Oaks.
Anytime you mention my house or my wife,
I just want to stop. They've lived there 56 years. So for their grandson to, at this age, they're in their late 80s, to sell a house from underneath them when they've lived there for 56 years and then have nowhere to go. I don't even know what that place is that somebody like that goes to, but yeah.
it's rough.
Losing the house is incredibly painful for this couple in their 80s. But it's how they lost the house that hurts the most. They say they were scammed by their own grandson.
People in the neighborhood told me all about it, but I still couldn't believe it. Not from him, I couldn't.
And I don't know.
So this is the neighbor. They wouldn't have even known about this if the neighbor didn't step in, because this neighbor, and I guess the neighbor had only lived there like a year. So that's how long he's known them. But he would see the grandson come and pick them up on Sundays and take them. And so under the ruse, he was like, yeah, let's go out to eat. Let's go do stuff on Sundays. Them thinking that, oh, he loves us and he's coming to spend time with us. And he was doing it so that a realtor could show the house. And thank goodness for this neighbor that, well, they still lose the house, but that he alerted them to this.
How a person can have a behavior like that.
Doug Emerson is one of the neighbors who broke the news to the elderly couple. He noticed that when Hank and Helen were out on Sundays with their grandson, realtors would be showing the house to potential buyers. Emerson did some digging and discovered the grandson the couple loved dearly was selling the house without their knowledge.
I asked him outright when he came by, I said, is my house for sale? He says, oh, no, don't worry about it.
Can you imagine your grandma confronting you on that and you being able to look them in the eye and lie about what you've done?
But it was for sale.
Not only was the house for sale, all the equity was gone.
He took out $360,000. Then he took out another loan for $65,000 and took out another loan for $47,400.
From what I've watched, he took out 3 loans that totaled over $500,000. And not once, he defaulted on every single loan. He never once made a payment to any of them. And so obviously this was planned, but all their equity is gone. All their money is gone. They worked their whole lives for this. And this is what their grandson could do to them.
When the couple confronted the grandson, they say he left and never came back.
I just feel lost.
to the extent I wanted to commit suicide at one time, because it's just too much. Too much.
I'm hoping something will happen and we can get it back. But I don't know how, but you never know. Maybe the man upstairs will help us out.
Now, sadly, what happened to Hank and Helen is quite common. Financial fraud is the #1 type of abuse against the elderly. And in 50 to 70% of the cases, it involves family members. I
want to talk about that. So over 50% elder financial abuse happens from family members. It's because they're in close proximity. They're trusted usually, and that's why they have access to this. They're dealing with vulnerable adults who they think, don't know any better, or they trust them. And it's another reason why it's not reported. It's probably even more than that, but it's embarrassing. You saw with Helen that she wanted to end her life over this. I mean, they've lost everything. And the betrayal factor, I can't imagine through this, but that you think you have to be careful for strangers doing this, and that someone that you love and call family, and it ruins families. It ruins families.
As in this case. Now, Hank and Helen, they're right here. Come on in. Let's talk to you both. Where are you planning to go?
We don't have a place to go right now. No place to go.
No, we had no place at all.
Now, have you heard back from your grandson?
No, none at all.
We haven't heard nothing.
Nothing.
Now, I understand you have filed a lawsuit in hopes of having the eviction, a judge ruling that you can stay a little longer here. Wednesday is the last day?
Yes, Wednesday is the last day.
Yeah, Wednesday is the last day.
I am so sorry. I mean, all of us are just devastated for you. How have you addressed this with your grandson? I mean, what?
No, I have no contact with him whatsoever, and I don't think he would face us. No.
Why would he do this?
That's #1 question, because we were such wonderful friends, and I didn't ever think that he would do that.
Anything for him. Every time he would come over here, she would give him food, anything else.
He'd come for breakfast every morning.
And I also saw that there have been no criminal charges. His name is Chad Moore. That's their grandson's name who did this. And there have been no criminal charges brought against him. And this is the hard part too, is that the deed was signed over to him. And, they seem like they're in their right mind. And even though they're vulnerable, if you're of sound mind, that they did this, but they did it because they trusted him, not because, they aren't vulnerable. They're vulnerable because they loved him. That's why. And that's what happened in my mom's case too.
Morning. Every
It's
morning.
just heartbreaking.
Yes.
So the neighbor who was the one who alerted both of you started a GoFundMe page. It is called Save Hank and Helen.
And so this has been a while. I think this happened in 2016. And then unfortunately, Hank passed away just last year. But after this, the neighbor did do a GoFundMe. They raised $125,000. And Hank and Helen bought a mobile home and moved into I believe it was a senior RV park. And so that's where they went to live after this. And I think once all this transpired, they only had like 60 days to move all their stuff. Imagine living somewhere for 56 years and then having that short amount of time to have to move all your stuff out. And so Hank passed away, and Helen, it looks like they had 3 daughters, and Helen was going to go live with a daughter in Indiana after Hank passed away. They had another daughter that was deceased, and then the other daughter, her name is Cheryl Moore, and she is the mother of the grandson who did this, Chad Moore. And it said they have no contact, or Helen now has no contact with her. And again, this is what it does. It breaks up families. And I didn't see the lawsuit, but it said that maybe she was going to be added to the lawsuit because maybe she knew about this. I don't know. I can't imagine. And just the hurt feelings, the betrayal level there is no level for this kind of betrayal. And so that's why it's really important to talk about. And that's what I want to do here is, it's too late for what my mom is going through. And, I'm my mom's only caretaker, moved her into her assisted living. She has no money, got her on medical assistance, but it's a planning and for something like this. So I was a paralegal for over 40 years and we have to understand, even though we trust people, it's kind of like a prenuptial agreement. People say, oh, you don't love me or you're planning for a divorce. No, it's to protect both people. And it's not planning for a divorce. It's just planning for the future, if anything happens. So if nothing happens, then you didn't need it. But things happen. And if it does, and then it's there and put in place. And for something like this, again, too late for my mom and our family, but that there's business and there's personal, and we have to learn to separate that. And even though we love someone, doesn't mean that we shouldn't be protecting ourselves. And this is just a very drastic story of how that's so true. That it seemed like they were really close. They never would have thought he would have done this, and he did. So again, it just goes to show that you just never know. And so in protecting yourself, you're protecting everybody. And again, no criminal charges because the deed was signed over to him. And, even though it doesn't seem right, that's what the law says. So, all right. Well, I hope you like these. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you've been through this or if you know of anybody who's been through this, elder abuse, elder financial abuse. I just want to share stories, start to make this conversation, start to learn things on how to prepare and just protect yourselves so this doesn't happen. And family, nobody wants to report this because it's embarrassing. And it's sad. It's betrayal. It's a lot of things. It's all the emotions. And again, it breaks up families. So if you can avoid this at all costs being the main word, we need to do it. So go out, make an adventure, no matter how big or how small. Go call someone you love. And as Joy says, tell them that you love them. And don't you dare forget your magic. I will see you in the next one. Bye.